the reason the Biden DOJ arrested Steve Baker.
Mr. Reagan.
Before we start, I'm going to again shamelessly pitch you my merch. Look, I wanted to design some cool stuff for all of us extreme MAGA folks. And yeah, this is not stuff that the typical Christian conservative Republican is going to buy. My family back in Oregon has already ridiculed me for designing crappy modern art stuff, but I love it. This is my Trump collection. It's 6 original Trump designs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you know what? I think they're pretty dang cool. Look at this one. Haunting. But if you hate all that stuff, check out this ad for Ronald Reagan in the 1980s, which I repurposed for Donald Trump. If you like this stuff, buy some of it. If not, just get a Mr. Reagan shirt or an America First mug. All right, enough panhandling. Let's start the show. Now, the other day, the journalist who broke the story I'm about to tell you was arrested by the Biden DOJ. And I was planning to do a video about his reporting anyway, because, I feel like this story got buried and overlooked, and it clearly needed some more exposure. But it did not go unnoticed by the leftists in DC. It did not go unnoticed by the men behind the curtain, because Steve Baker is now a full-fledged enemy of the state. And although I plan to do a full episode about the authoritarian action of arresting Steve Baker and the taking of Catherine Herridge's notes, that's going to be a different video. This video is intended to inform you about the reporting of Steve Baker and why the Biden administration has decided to go after this man. This is the open and obvious intimidation of a journalist, and I think intentionally so. I think the administration wants to send a message. Do not disobey the regime. Do not challenge the regime, or you will be put in prison. So, Steve Baker's report was posted a few weeks ago. The Blaze, Glenn Beck's organization, Blaze Media, they put out this video proving that 2 high-profile Capitol Police officers lied about January 6th. In particular, they lied about the Oath Keepers. This was Harry Dunn, who famously produced testimony about January 6th protesters in a very dramatic staged hearing.
Many displaying Trump flags. The crowd was chanting slogans like, "Stop the steal," and "We want Trump," carrying a Confederate flag, a red MAGA flag, and a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, and some wearing MAGA hats and shirts that said Trump 2020. One woman in a pink MAGA shirt yelled, "You hear that, guys? This voted for Joe Biden." Then the crowd, perhaps around 20 people, joined in screaming, "Boo, I began sobbing. Officers came over to console me, and I'm now receiving private counseling therapy for the persistent emotional trauma of that day.
And also Nancy Pelosi's head of security, Special Agent David Lazarus. Now, according to Blaze Media, both of these men perjured themselves. Both of these men produced false testimony regarding what they saw and the behavior of the protesters. Harry Dunn claims, and David Lazarus backs him up on this, that the Oath Keepers were attacking him with racial slurs and just acting aggressively against him. David Lazarus claims that he witnessed this as well, and this testimony has led to the arrest, trial, and conviction of many of the Oath Keepers, and they have been given outrageous sentences in prison. Now, because of the newly released January 6th footage and because of the amazing research and investigative reporting from The Blaze, from Steve Baker in particular, we now know for sure that this was all a lie. This was a show trial, a kangaroo court, and a total miscarriage of justice. The Oath Keepers always maintained that they were never antagonistic against Harry Dunn, but in fact, they defended him against more aggressive protesters. So not only were the Oath Keepers not aggressively going after this guy, they were actively protecting and defending him. And in spite of this degenerate piece of crap human being, he had the gall to lie about these men under oath and cause them harsh prison sentences that they did not deserve. This guy, Harry Dunn, he is a truly disgusting human being. And so is this guy, David Lazarus, who also lied about the Oath Keepers. But like many of the things that I report on this channel, this reporting went almost nowhere. And it honestly kind of pissed me off. Like, this reporting totally exonerates these men and nobody picked it up. I don't see this reported anywhere. I barely even saw it discussed on Twitter. So I decided to give it a little attention here on my show. So have a look at this video from The Blaze in 1 second. First, of course, I have to sell you something. Guys don't really care that much about how we look, and I get that. But you know what? We should care. Because the way you look on the outside is sometimes a reflection of your overall health. Now, I've been asked to hawk this collagen supplement, and you know what? I'm happy to do it. Because let me tell you, I love collagen. I was drinking bone broth every day for a while, and I think protein is very important. And collagen in particular is one of the most important proteins I think that you should supplement with. If you've noticed more wrinkles, it might not just be aging, it might be that your collagen levels are critically low. It's more crucial with every passing year to get collagen into your diet as soon as possible to save your skin and improve your overall health. And multi-collagen, this is very good stuff. This can renew and revitalize the way that you look and feel. This collagen provides your body with 5 different types of collagen from 4 different sources, whereas most other collagen supplements only provide 2. It's formulated to help reduce visible signs of aging, reduce wrinkles, promote a youthful glow, promote elasticity, and promote skin hydration. You can experience the incredible benefits of multi-collagen at an exclusive 53% discount, plus you'll get 4 bonuses like free VIP health and fitness coaching for life, a free new ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee. 60-day satisfaction guarantee, that means you get your money back if you don't like it, and free shipping. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Go to healthwithreagan.com. Once again, that is healthwithreagan.com. Order some collagen right now.
Sentenced to 4 years in prison.
Sentenced to 8.5 years in prison.
Sentenced to 12 years in prison. Sentenced to 18 years in prison.
His story that day is he was assisting the evacuation of the Senate at the time that the incident between Officer Harry Dunn and the Oath Keepers began. The Oath Keepers lined up between him and the more agitated protesters and assisted him in keeping them off of him.
Dunn rejected the defense's argument that members of the militia protected him.
I don't conflate my story.
In the first FBI interview, he actually gave a favorable story about his encounter with the 4 Oath Keepers.
He stood in front of Harry Dunn for almost 6 minutes.
After he was brought in for his second FBI interview, he changed that story.
He was fighting back insurrectionists across the Capitol while being called the vilest racist names.
So what they did is they brought in another officer, Special Agent David Lazarus, to kind of bolster that story and give it more credibility by saying that he saw Dunn standing at the top of the stairs being hassled by these Oath Keepers. At the time the Harry Dunn Oath Keepers encounter began, he was not in the same building. So we were able to track Lazarus on the Capitol CCTV cameras. Lazarus can be seen moving away from the Capitol building through a lower tunnel at 2:37:59 p.m. Lazarus then continued to move through a lower level of the Capitol on the Senate side of the building at 2:49 p.m. Dunn's encounter with the Oath Keepers is almost over by now, but Lazarus testified that he saw Dunn in an antagonistic conversation with the Oath Keepers 3 or 4 times. At 2:56 p.m., Lazarus is still 1 floor below and is still not arrived at the staircase where he claimed to have seen Dunn's encounter with the 4 Oath Keepers. By this time, those Oath Keepers had already left the rotunda and are about to exit the east doors. Finally, at 2:56, Lazarus can be seen reaching the bottom of the staircase, at the top of which he claimed to have witnessed Dunn's very antagonistic interaction with 4 Oath Keepers 3 or 4 times while rescuing 11 or 12 of Pelosi's staff from their offices. The problem with that is it just never happened. These are videos that were never released to the defense attorneys.
This is our government not getting it wrong.
No.
This is our government setting American citizens up, withholding evidence that's exculpatory, sentencing them to long sentences. This is as bad as it gets.
We received messages from our sources at the DOJ in Washington that they were quote unquote terrified of this story. As we continue the process of peeling back the layers on this particular story, we're going to find evidence of who set this up and who put those 2 officers on the stand, because I don't believe for a moment that Harry Dunn and David Lazarus got together in the middle of that staircase that day on January 6th and hatched this story.
Special Agent David Lazarus perjured himself on the stand during the Oath Keepers trial. Harry Dunn also perjured himself in his testimony.
Special Agent Lazarus was not even in the same building, and we secured the Capitol CCTV video that I don't think they ever thought we would get access to, showing that that's the truth.
What's so frightening about this, Steve, is they didn't think that anybody would get this footage, and it is terrifying what our government's willing to do to its own people.
It's terrifying that they are still trying to cover this up. As a matter of fact, we learned just a few days ago that Capitol Police Chief Thomas Manger has stated that he has no intention to investigate this internally or to investigate the actions or the testimony of Special Agent Lazarus. That's correct. And the fact is that neither one of these cops who testified in this trial could possibly have experience what they said. As I said before, they gave very, very specific and detailed testimonies, and both of them are not only in conflict with one another, they're in complete conflict with the truth.
If you don't have this video yet, you can find it online. You can go to blaze.com, tweet this out, and spread this as much as possible. You cannot argue this at all because everything is time-stamped.
So now look, I'm not a lawyer. However, I looked it up, and I believe that a court could immediately reverse the ruling of the earlier court that convicted the Oath Keepers, and they could set them free immediately. This is what I found. So if any of these Oath Keepers, if they appeal their conviction, given this new evidence, and if the higher court exonerates them, the legal findings of the earlier court case would be overturned or vacated, and the original conviction would no longer stand. Then the higher court could issue a writ of habeas corpus, which would effectively release the person from custody. Boom, done, they're out. So I don't know why this is not happening right now. Maybe it is. You know, I'm obviously not following the individual cases of every January 6th defendant because there's so many of them. But I don't know, maybe this is going on. But the truth is that we need all of the January 6th stories to be told in full. And every January 6th protester must be freed. This was a total setup. This was a fake insurrection. It was an illusion created by Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell and the FBI and probably several other degenerate deep state swamp dwellers. And justice must be done. Everyone who conspired to set these people up, including Harry Dunn, including this colostomy bag, David Lazarus, they all need to be arrested, tried, and convicted for trying to destroy the lives of these poor people. And remember, because this was exposed by Steve Baker, a journalist at The Blaze, he has now been arrested, and the Biden administration is now trying to destroy his life. I will be doing a video about that soon. All right. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and go buy all my overpriced stuff on Teespring. Like I said, I have got some really great new t-shirts and mugs that I'm really proud of, so go have a look at that stuff. Now, when you see the items on the site, you don't have to buy that object. Like, if you see a cool design on a phone case, but you don't want a phone case, you want a mug, just click on the phone case and it'll give you the option to buy a mug with the same design, that kind of thing. Or just send me money via the super thanks here on YouTube so that we can keep on trying to save the world. These videos aren't always great, but every once in a while, I produce a gem. All right, thanks for watching. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. Good night.
You know, someone very profoundly once said that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism. And what is fascism? Private ownership, but total government control and regulation. Well, isn't this the liberal philosophy? The conservative, so-called, is the one that says, less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.